Hi there, my name's Tim Johnson. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't control, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's, of course, the Serenity Prayer, as most of you will probably know. And it's a really important philosophy for life, not just for those of us who've suffered from or are suffering from addiction and other such issues, but as a general philosophy for life. You can't go far wrong if you follow that rule. But it's not just as easy as saying a few words, as you all probably know. And I'm going to share with you today a way of working towards achieving that goal in that prayer. And when you do, you'll feel like you've had a massive weight lifted off your shoulders. You'll feel lighter, happier, so much less stressed. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's obviously a work in progress and something that you work towards. But I'll share with you how I've tried to work towards that today. Of course, it would be lovely to be able to control things, wouldn't it? You know, to be able to control the weather, to be able to control what people think of us, to be able to control the way people behave, not just towards us, but in general. To be able to control the policies that our glorious government rain down on us, causing chaos in our lives and misery for a lot of people. To be able to control the queues of traffic that hold us up from work every day, or the cancelled trains. You get the drift. You know, it's of course we can't control those things, and many thousands of other things that we try to. But this is the problem in our minds. We think we can, or most, we think we can have an influence on them, which causes massive stress and massive depression, etc. when we don't manage to do that. And that's because in modern society today, we're sort of bombarded with things that will help us try to control our lives, and more they're trying to control the environment and give us tools to try and control the environment and stuff around us. And of course that's impossible. And what happens is we make stories up in our mind. We make up these stories and we believe them. We believe that we're not worthy. We believe that we're not successful, that we can't possibly live up to the images that we're bombarded with. We believe that people don't like us. We believe that we can never live up to their expectations or our own expectations. We make these stories up that that just aren't true. That we'll never succeed, in life. What's the purpose for us being here, etc., etc., etc. And I can go on and on. And of course, they become self-fulfilling prophecies, because if you believe that you can't do something, or you believe something that you will never achieve something, or something's impossible, or that you're not worthy, or that you haven't got the right haircut, or that you're too fat, that you're too thin, that you're ugly, that you don't conform to what modern society says you should conform to, then you believe you're a failure. And of course this causes massive problems in society, such as self-harm, such as addiction, obviously, mental illness, depression, many countless other things. But of course, it causes great unhappiness for us all and great stress, because we consistently believe that we can control things that we can't possibly ever control. There was a great philosopher called Marcus Aurelius who lived in Roman times, 96 AD, I believe, about 2,000 years ago. And his philosophy was called Stoicism at the time. And I suggest you look into this deeply, because it is amazing. And what he said then stands up today. There are only two things that you can possibly control. Two things only. One is your thoughts, and the other is your actions. Those are the only two things that you can possibly ever control. You can't control what people think of you. You can't control, how people behave, or, you can't control the silly things like the weather, or, and the big problems in society, and etc., etc., etc. You can't control whether your child will sleep through the night, or just all these little examples, but you can't possibly. But what you can control is your reaction to all these things. You can control your thoughts, and you can control the way you react and your actions. A lot of modern day philosophers, such as Dr. Wayne Dyer, Sir Alan Watts, Eckhart Tolle, all use the same formulas that Marcus Aurelius, this guy 2,000 years ago, was using in his philosophy of Stoicism. They all pick up things from this. And the way to control, or begin to control your thoughts and your actions, is obviously, and you probably all know this anyway, but it is being in the present moment, which in this day and age, because we're sort of bombarded with instant gratification, we're always in a rush, we're always projecting into the future, or we're looking back into the past. And this is where all these stories come from, and these worries and this stress comes from, because obviously the future doesn't exist, and we're constantly projecting into it, thinking what may happen, and that we're going to fail, that we can't possibly achieve this, achieve that. You're projecting ahead, and then looking back at past experiences and using those to make other pictures and stories in our heads that just aren't true. And the only way that we can begin to sort the wheat from the chaff, if you like, is be in the present moment. And it's really, really difficult to do that. I'm not just glibly saying that. I'm a work in progress myself. I'm constantly trying to work on this, but it has brought me great relief and happiness. Because if you become the watcher of your thoughts, if you can be in the moment more and more, if you can listen to your breathing, if you can relax more, even in modern times when I know people are stressed with their jobs and their kids, and they're having to achieve and having to get here and there and everywhere all at once, and get this and get that, and get the latest material thing that you're going to get into your life, then I know it's more and more difficult to be in the present moment, because you're constantly projecting and going backwards and forwards in your head. But if you can become the watcher of your thoughts, and watch when you're doing this, when these thoughts come into your head, you can work towards changing those thoughts and having power over them. And the more you do this, the more the pathways in your brain build up and build up and build up, and the more natural it becomes. And you find yourself thinking, I can't control what that person thinks of me, or what that person's doing, because if you start getting angry about what someone's doing, or you start feeling shame or inferior because of what you think what someone thinks of you, or because you haven't got the right, in your eyes, the right haircut or the right clothes on, or you don't live in the right area, whatever it is you might be projecting about. If you're letting those thoughts build up and make pictures and stories in your head, you're going to be unhappy and stressed and depressed, and it's going to lead you probably, which is why the Serenity Prayer is so important, for addicts, because these things will always lead you back into self-hatred and lack of self-worth, and then constantly back into relapse and reusing and whatever it is that you're going to do. Which is why a lot of society is in addiction of some sort, whatever that addiction may be, or there's so much mental illness and depression and Christ knows what else going on, in our society, because we're constantly trying to control, and we're constantly can't achieve that, and it's just bringing us misery. So if you become in the moment, look at the setting time on your watch, breathe for 5 minutes. When you feel your thoughts are overpowering you, or you begin to recognize that your thoughts are leading you in the wrong direction, or you're trying to do something that you can't possibly have control over, or you start to stress over something that you haven't got control over. There are many, many things that happen to you during your day, whatever they may be, however trivial or however large they may be. It's just like the biggest one of all. You don't have control over your health, really, or apart from looking after yourself, but you don't have control. If you get an illness, you haven't necessarily got control over congenital illness. You haven't got control over someone else that you love getting an illness, or all these things, you've got to be able to deal with, and the best way to deal with them is to be in the moment and to try and recognize those thoughts for what they are, so you can be of some use. And you'll find that this massive weight has lifted off your shoulders, and this massive cloud sort of lifts from over your head, and you keep working towards it, chipping bits off it all the time. Work in progress, work in progress, and it's like any other muscle, your brain. But like I say, the only two things you will ever have control of are your thoughts and your actions. Just remember that, and stop making these stories up in your head which aren't true, because you are worthy. Just think of the trillions of sperms that your father released towards, with that bit of DNA. One of those sperms, one of those trillions, with a little bit of DNA mix in it, met up with the thousands and thousands of eggs that were in your mother's womb. One egg that had that particular mix of DNA in it and created you. It's a miracle. It's a miracle that you're here, which is why being in the moment is so important, so you can savor every moment of it, so you can be in the present all the time, and realize that life's not a bed of roses a lot of the time. There's a lot of misery in it, but you need to be conscious during in it, because it's a miracle, and there's so much happiness to be had there as well, and so much joy and inner joy and peace to be found if you just let it, just be in that moment and savor it, instead of just wishing your life away and projecting and looking back. And just be in the moment. That's all I would say. And live life, and realize that you are unique and you are a miracle, and enjoy your life and enjoy every single precious moment of it, because it can be snatched away in a heartbeat, just as your loved ones' lives can be snatched away in a heartbeat. So tell them you love them every day, because I do. I tell my children and my wife and those people I love around me that I love them every single day. Maybe not, if it's not, it's on WhatsApp, if it's not on a, verbally, but I tell them I love them every single day, because life is very precious. Much love to you all. Carpe Diem. Live for the moment and seize the day. Much love. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.